As we get back to the association, this trade deadline special, I just reported that the Brooklyn Nets are waiving combo guard Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas will be an unrestricted free agent this summer. It hasn't worked out with him and the Nets over the last few years. There have been some problems, some situations that have occurred throughout his tenure with the Brooklyn Nets. So he's going to have an opportunity to be a free agent now. And, so he can't be a free agent over summer. He's free now. He's being one.
Well, the biggest.
He was scheduled to be. He was scheduled to be.
Yeah. One. He's one now.
Well, the biggest issue was his allergies. He was allergic to passing. And if you gotta, they gotta get him to move the basketball. That's the biggest issue. The kid, he can score. Mm-hmm. But if every time you come down and the ball touches your hands, you don't look to pass the ball at all, that is a big issue in your locker room and around your franchise. And so, he could be a good piece for somebody from the standpoint of coming off their bench and just being a flat-out bucket. Don't care about passing, don't even think about it, but I'm only going to play you in 5 to 6 minute stretches. And if it's going, it's going. And if it's not, come back over here and hang out with me. I think that can be a role for him in this league. But the role that Brooklyn was asking him to play over the last couple years as a scorer and a guy that, is relied to get you close in the game, the way he plays the game, the other 4 guys were standing around watching a lot. Mm-hmm. And so, the buyout part of it, I don't know why that came down to it. Probably because they couldn't find the deal that they wanted.
Yeah, that's what it was. So he didn't travel with the team to Orlando. So they were going to waive him if they didn't find a trade partner.
So they
looked for personal reasons.
They looked for a trade. Yeah, that makes sense. They look for a trade partner first, and then you don't want to just eat money. So.
He scored 24 a game last year, granted a small sample size of games. With the year prior, 22.5 and close to a full season, 66 games for Cam Thomas, so he's going to get a chance to have a fresh start.
Yeah, I think if you can put the ball in the bucket that frequently and that efficiently, and you did it that recently, I don't think your time in the NBA is necessarily over.
I'll give you a team. You want a team he can end up with?
Give me one.
Absolutely.
The LA Lakers.
I was just,
No bench production. They need a guy. They need help off that bench right now.
Yeah,
right?
No
and that's, even with Austin back, you got all those guys in your starting lineup. When you get into that bench, you need one guy that can go get you a basket. And the reality with Cam Thomas, when everything breaks down, when the playoffs hit, the way he can score the ball actually comes into a value add because there's no offense no more. It's, can you get by your guy? Can you pick out the worst matchup and attack that? And he can do that. The big key, again, can somebody get him slotted in a way where he doesn't have to try to do stuff that's uncomfortable for him, which is trying to move the ball.
As we sit here right now, we're 17, 18 minutes past the trading deadline and kind of still waiting on stuff to trickle out from around the league. Is there a team that we haven't talked about just yet that you're surprised about or perhaps disappointed in that we haven't talked about them yet?
I like the Jared McCain move. I think that
for OKC.
Yeah. I think adding another tough ball handling guard that can make a play is not a bad add, especially when you look at their future and when it comes to money and things like that. Because there's some guys coming up on that roster that's going to make a lot of money. And you can't bring them all back, and so you're going to want rookie contracts in your fold, right? And so you don't get a talent drop-off. This guy was in the Rookie of the Year voting. Like, he was right there, as a key player in that race. And so Sam Presti knows what he's doing from that standpoint. It's subtle, but it's a good move for them. The team that I was interested in seeing if they were going to do something was the Spurs. And, again, sometimes the best move is no move because of how they're built and constructed, and they like where they are and what they're doing. So
I think the most vexing move for me was the Chicago-Charlotte trade.
Kobe White?
Yeah.
Well, so was it Kobe White for?
So it was Kobe White and Mike Conley for Colin Sexton, Usam Jang, who I think has since been rerouted, and 3 second-round picks. But yeah, I mean, you talk about vexing or perplexing.
Championship when your best player is the guy that the other team is always going after, right? And so that's going to be, can the Lakers overcome that? Because we saw Trae Young in Atlanta. That didn't work out over time because as great as Trae Young is offensively, teams just kept going at him and kept going at him and kept going at him and disintegrating their defense. And so, you know, like I said, I'm a huge Luka fan, but can they put the right pieces around him that he needs to give him the best chance to get there? And right now, I don't think this is the roster for that. He's got a lot of years left to play basketball, and they got a lot of time to build around him. But I think they're going to have to go back into the offseason and revisit how the type of guys they put around, because you got to put athleticism with the shooting.
As we just passed the trade deadline, again, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, no more trades after that. We're talking about the Lakers, which is interesting because you flash back to last year, right? Remember the Lakers, how they had one then at the deadline, you know, Mark Williams from Charlotte, and then that deal
went through. Yeah.
Did not go through, and they could not adjust because it was after the deadline. I wonder how much that has played into the early activity this week, giving teams more of a cushion when it comes to physicals, more of a cushion and some breathing room to reroute some guys as opposed to a flurry of moves ahead of the deadline. I see Haynes is locked in on the phone there just in case any
did some flurries coming.
Yeah, exactly. Any that did beat the buzzer.
Shocks.
So I want to get the player and the coach organization standpoint as the deadline actually hits. Fizz, like what happens? Is it just a lot of looking around the room? Is it an exhale?
Yeah, basically a big exhale, high fives, whether you did it or you didn't do it. Because sometimes the best moves are no moves. For real. Like, you, if it's not out there for you to do it, don't just do moves to say you're active, you know, because I've seen a lot of teams get burned that way, end up losing a guy that could absolutely help them. You know, one team we haven't talked about is Minnesota. Minnesota made a big deal. The kid from Chicago. Ayo now is really the replacement for Nall, you know, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And so I think Minnesota really missed that dude. And you can see it, right? And so, you know, they made a big play and went out. And this kid is a big-time defender. He can get you into offense, and he's shooting the blood out of the ball. And so I was waiting to see what Minnesota would do. I'm happy they did that because that's the team now. You know, we talk about the West and people moving up. And, I mean, watch out because Ant now has another guy who's super tough, that can guard, who can play, who's fearless, but he's shooting the ball well. And that's the big part because, you know, it's all good, but your best player still needs spacing. And when he's off ball, he's still going to make people pay with his spacing. And so I think it's a great move for them. They didn't have to go crazy and give up a ton to really, really address a need that I think was glaring.
I like the move for them because we know how good Na is. You've been one of his biggest fans on the show this year, rightfully so. I don't know how much it moves the needle for me because you think 2 years ago they had who the Timberwolves have next to
Conley. They had Mike. And they had,
And last year, the Timberwolves beat a Golden State Warriors team to advance. They lost Steph Curry. So now they're kind of, let's say, AO is able to replace what Na did. So they're kind of just where they were last year then. So I don't know how much it moves the needle.
Here's the only difference I think.